Hey guys, Stealth here and welcome back to Wargame Red Dragon. Today, a 3v3 on Gunboat Diplomacy. It was Ghostcastle who sent this in, and he says this was a match during a small friendly tournament. Now, I don't know what rule set that tournament had. Against the enemy team, we were playing 3 matches with 3 rounds each. At this point, we lost the first match, and we lost one round of the second match. So this one is going to be a very important match for them. If this does not work, they are basically going to lose against this opponent, against this enemy team. Now again, I don't know what tournament this is. I'm not keeping up to date with tournaments, well, outside of my own channel. But I am considering running another one. Linked in the description, or actually linked in the first comment, the pinned comment, is a community post that I put up. Because I'm considering running a conquest not a conquest tournament, an economy tournament. Everybody knows destruction and everybody knows conquest, but what about economy? It's like the red-headed stepchild in Wargame that we don't talk about. It's going to shake things up. Now, I'm just considering running it. I want to gauge how much interest there is. So please vote in the poll whether you would watch it or play it, or potentially both, or whether it's just not for you. Now, this game, it is seemingly fairly limited as for deployment points. It looks like people really have to make a very careful choice about what they deploy. I'm thinking they might have 1500 points as a team. So that would be 500 points per player. And of course, since you're already buying a CV, it's effectively 400. And maybe actually even less than that. Because I'm looking at Ghostcastle, he has the Leopard 2s and the Scorpion light tanks. Iltis, Dornier 205, and a couple of units defending apparently over here, because with this, you are most definitely not going to take a hotel and or echo. Now outside, this is a really fucked up timing, outside of my door there is one of those community, I don't know, gardeners, I guess you would call them. With one of those, how do I explain that? You know, it's one snare that rotates very, very quickly. It's kind of like a lawn mower, but they just carry it around. I hope he's not going to be too audible in the video. Anyway, Ghostcastle in the description writes that this is a very important match, and they decided to go all in. Now, on Gunboat Diplomacy, it's usually an infantry grinder. You get these pushes back and forth across hotel and echo. You sometimes see flanking maneuvers here, or of course the other way around. But what if you do the unexpected thing? What if you go to Charlie, and, well, a little beyond Charlie? Because Charlie and Alpha, they're sort of dead zones, usually. Not a whole lot happens. Some ATGMs get shot back and forth. There's usually pretty much a skeleton crew defending that. An AA unit, a couple of HEGMs, reconnaissance here and there to make sure that they don't just harmlessly cross the bridge. But what if you go all in? Scorpion light tanks, Leopards, ITOs, Fiat, KM163s for NTR. Beta, a teammate, has a Dornier 205. And if they are able to push all of this across the bridge and not encounter any airstrikes, they might just stand a chance. This does mean that they're very weak in Gulf. They have green jackets, they have one anti-tank team there, they have a javelin. They have a Moleemann 2 to cover that bridge, but only one, and it is not even provided reconnaissance. So they're going to have to do their own spotting, which for a Moleemann team is quite the challenge. Now over here, it looks like the Mi-8P was able to drop off the command infantry, but I think the Fiat might have killed that. Of course, that does come at the expense of the Fiat, but now the heavier units have arrived. No, not so much the Scorpion light tanks, but most definitely the Leopards. The Leopards fortunately don't take missiles from the Suzong Pose, but one of the Scorpions does. And the Scorpion light tanks, they're cheap, they're fragile, and they don't have a stabilizer. So the only units which are able to return fire against the units over there are the Leopards and the K1. There's also the 163, which is doing a lot of admirable work against the infantry over there. The Yekiri are not allowed into this sector, but without a good reconnaissance unit, they're blind. And these guys don't particularly have good optics. Now a couple of Type 59s get spawned in, as a sort of desperate measure to push them back. But the Leopards don't really care about a Type 59. They very quickly cut through it, making their way all the way into India. Now they're not quite going alone. Beta has a Dornier 205 with command infantry. And this is going to be an important unit. The enemy, Umbra, spawns in HH-10s. They're armed with 8 TOW-2 missiles in total. That is very, very lethal to the Leopards. The Leopards, the K1s, they are quickly dying out. There goes the K1. And these things have more missiles. Red 4 is also trying to push back a little bit over here with an Alouette. And the Alouette did take a missile, I think, from the Javelin, but somehow didn't die. And, actually, no, I don't think it took a missile from the Javelin. The Javelin's probably missed. Not unusual. And it was the Saxon with the Browning that did a little bit of damage. Otherwise, this thing would not have been here, because one hit from the 5 HE Javelin would have killed it. So Red 4 at this point should know that Blue 4 is weak over here. Gulf is very fragile. And especially if you start adding up all the points that Blue 4 lost over here. And I know it's Conquest, so you're not going to be easily able to see it. But you will be more or less able to get an idea of where the enemy has the majority of their forces. If you count all of that up, you could argue that they have to be weak here. There just cannot be a whole lot out here. The enemy spawns in a couple of Sinhung, which are North Korean light tanks. Pretty much the counterpart to the Scorpion light tank, but these gentlemen also carry an anti-tank weapon. A Peace Pheasant, of all things, comes in. The Scorpion light tanks find the command vehicle, and the Peace Pheasant takes it out. That means that India is now open to attack. And not just that, India is open to capture, using Beta's Führungsgruppe. Despite a Shilka or two being spawned in, Blue 4 now has control of India. Which makes this map look really weird. Because Red 4, well, they could have captured Hotel and Echo. I think they might have been trying to grab more terrain first. They might have been trying to defend Alpha, and thereby making sure that you don't get incursions like these, but they weren't quick enough. Let's put it to neutral and see where Red 4... Yep, where Red 4 has their stuff. All of this should have been moving up. The moment that you see a whole bunch of forces over there, you should know that there is pretty much nothing here. Now you could argue, yes, but there's a Milan 2 team over there. They're going to wipe out all the transports. Yes, and they're BTR 50s. They're BMP 1s. They're not particularly valuable. Just walk the Ikari over to the Milan, and they won't be able to do anything. The only infantry group that could put up a bit of a fight is the Gurkhas. The Gurkhas, however, are seriously outnumbered by all the guys that could be coming at them. So what I think happened here is that Red 4 is seriously dropping the ball because their attention is being completely demanded by the situation that happened over here. They're also getting helicopter incursions. There's an HH-10, there's a UH-60 flying in. Oh, sorry, the HH-10 is Chinese, so it is not Blue 4. And the UH-60 with its M60 is actually doing a bit of damage to the HH-10s. They have yet to find the command unit. If they find it, it's GG. But Red 4 is deploying a lot of anti-air units to prevent that from happening. Blue 4 has found it, however. However, briefly, they might know where it is. The question is, can they kill it? Well, this Peace Pheasant is going to try. But there was a bit much anti-air in the way. The Peace Pheasant did drop, but not enough of the payload to actually cause a kill. So they know exactly where it is, but they can't kill it. Fortunately, Air Forces now spawn in from here. That's why that bomber came in from here at such a quick notice. At this point, Blue 4 is also gaining a ton of command points at conquest points at +5. They are holding on to Gulf, Charlie, and of course now India, where Red 4 have lost Delta, which is a pretty important sector as it provides a +2. So Blue 4, mostly ignoring the units over there, just not even making an effort to get in there, and just going all in on the right flank, is causing such a disturbance that Red 4 doesn't really have an answer to it yet. Because Red 4 could sense weakness. Unfortunately, I think that at this point it might be too late. if they had pushed with all of their infantry and their transports into Gulf not too long ago, let's say 4 to 5 minutes ago, they might have had a chance. They might have been able to overwhelm all the units here. But, of course, Blue 4 keeps ticking income. And because of that, they're now able to resupply. There's a Chinook. There's a Lynx A87, which would be death to infantry. And they even have a Challenger 2 backing them up, which I believe was not there a moment ago. So this Challenger is going to cause all sorts of mayhem to infantry, as it could be moving across the plains to this sector. I really like this double or nothing approach. It is very risky. If it doesn't work, then you're out of the game in 5 minutes. If it does work, then you can actually push back hard. Because with the command units in this sector, you spawn in new stuff very close to the enemy spawn. And the front line shifts from being normally here to being over this ridge line here. Yes, there is a ridge line. It's not terribly well noticeable from the skies. But if you look at it up close, there is definitely a ridge line. So units will be hiding on either side. Red 4 spawns in Type 59 1Bs. Unfortunately, not terribly deadly. But they can hold their own against helicopters. So Blue 4 is better off not spawning in helicopters or other anti-air units. Strela 2M, not particularly deadly, not very accurate, but fired in large enough doses, it could cause all sorts of problems. Blue 4 spawning in something which is far superior. The K1, 17 frontal armor and 16 punch on the gun versus 16 punch on the gun, but 7 armor on the Type 59 1B. Scorpion light tank even bravely trying to put up a fight, but unsuccessfully. The Challenger 1-3, they don't hold a candle to this tank. They don't have any chance of killing it off with the cheap units that they're spawning in. Now normally I would argue that the Type 59 1B might be a cost-effective unit if it's supporting infantry against transports and potentially transport helos. But in a situation like this, it's not very cost-effective. They have also managed to spawn in some more defense units, some anti-air defense, Flakpanzer Gepard and the Beho that you just saw go down over there. Which means that at least one HH-10 could still be making its rounds. No, I think the Flakpanzer just took it out. I just missed that. Now Red 4 at this point has quite a lot of units in here, still. I'm not sure what the Reneko Yekeri over here are particularly doing, nor the HGM team over there. In this case, I would say either all move forward or all move back. Don't have them sitting here, because this way all of your units in this sector are wasted. Now, I'm going to say that I know how difficult it is when you're in a battle to sort of zoom out. To take a breather and go, okay, the situation is Blue 4 is attacking us here. They're strong here, they can bring in powerful units here. Where else could we go? And just, and also let's say that Red 4 is probably looking at the battle potentially like this. And of course, from their perspective, they don't see much. So they're spawning on all sorts of new stuff, and they're not even keeping an eye on the map here. But if you have a lot of dots over there, use them. If you have a lot of units, send them out, because they will be very valuable. At the same time, it looks like Red 4 is trying to counter the maneuver over here. But Blue 4 has just captured it using a Bonbu command infantry, and that puts them at a +4. So it's a really quick, really strong offensive, and it looks to be working. This whole double or nothing strategy has paid off for Blue 4. Could have very easily backfired. Could have very easily been countered if they had had, for example, one bomber that hit them on the bridge. If the Scorpion light tanks and the Leopard 2s got taken out, then, well, GG. You don't do much to counter that. But in a situation like this, where apparently Red 4 was banking on Alpha being not an area of interest, in that case, you can just barge through. And considering the low starting points, it seems like neither team had a lot of units to defend either sector. So, that is a very quick victory for Blue 4. They had a bit of deployment time, but the battle actually only took 12 minutes and 56 seconds. Double or nothing. Does it work? Yes. Sometimes. Not all the time. Hope you guys enjoyed the battle. Do be sure to look at the link in the comment section and vote on it so that I know whether you're interested in another tournament or not. And I'm going to quickly end this video because the lawnmower has returned and I don't want all that noise in my content. Thank you for watching, hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you soon for another battle.